This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Rock and Roll Denim, Bill Fick Ford, the WCRA, and Resistol.
Attention all rodeo athletes. Join us for the Cowtown Christmas Championship Rodeo in December. Over $360,000 in prize money in the historic Cowtown Coliseum in Fort Worth, December 14th through 17th. And no entry fees. Qualify using the VRQ for the Triple Crown of Rodeo $1 million cash bonus, featured on a CBS network broadcast. To get started, go to the App Store, download the WCRA Rodeo app, and hit nominate. This is your chance to rodeo in December. Nominate today or visit us at WCRArodeo.com.
Guys, another year has ticked by, challenging year, but there was somebody you could rely on if you needed a new Super Duty pickup, and that was Bill Fick Ford. Once again, the #1 Super Duty dealer in the entire country. You guys have seen what's going on in the car business, in the truck business. You're seeing trucks being sold for thousands above MSRP. Well, if you go to Bill Fick Ford, it doesn't matter where you are at in the continental U.S. He will take care of you. He will stand by the product, and he will not take advantage of you. Guys, Bill Fick Ford is the only place you can go in 2022 for a no-bull discount. Bill Fick Ford.
What sets Resistol apart is the legacy of the cowboys who wear the brand. These traditions are passed down from fathers to sons, from heroes to future champions. Since 1927, Resistol has been handcrafting the finest American-made cowboy hats. Generation after generation, we live it every day.
Lonesome Rider Coffee Company is a veteran-owned, family-operated business started in 2019 in San Diego, California. Lonesome Rider Coffee is committed to helping the community by sponsoring several youth sports leagues, high school athletic programs, multiple veteran nonprofits, and they've created fundraising campaigns to raise donations for breast cancer all year long. Lonesome Rider Coffee is sourced directly from coffee farms all around the world. Their coffee is roasted per order in small batches without harmful additives or artificial flavors. Lonesome Rider Coffee Company believes that the best tasting drinks must come directly from the earth, from organic and sustainable sources. This allows their customers to receive the freshest and most delicious coffee directly to their mailbox or on the shelves. Visit LonesomeRiderCoffee.com to check out all their different blends, including their 6-shooter dark roast blend. That's LonesomeRiderCoffee.com.
This is The Gauge with host Chance Conradou.
Are you freaking serious? It's Conrado. This is The Gauge, and I am Chance Conrado on this episode of the podcast, Part 2, Cow Horse Full Contact. If you thought Part 1 was weird, just wait. Check it out. Still, it's all based around heroics in one way or another.
That's it.
And so people crave that. And you see that in a show like Yellowstone. You see heroics, and you see it in a visceral way that we're all, okay, I've grown up on ranches my whole life. We've never shot 7 people in 30 minutes.
I know, that's nothing
left
like...
a bunch of bikers in the pasture up there by the road. Why does nobody
think to look off that hill? At some point, they're going to start piling up. I just don't know when. Did anybody else think that? I was like, how
they say
far
that's
down?
a spot between the states.
Yeah.
Like up there in Yellowstone, because I did research that. And
I'm just saying, if the FBI is going to raid Mar-a-Lago for already declassified documents, you can tell me you're not going to run over to Montana and say, hey, why is there 3,000 dead people?
There's a pyramid of people.
No jurisdiction.
It's like from dusk till dawn out there.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, you know what? We're just going to call it plot armor. It's fine. Like, I swear, one episode they marched 1,300 people down there. Like, this is more than a Mongol raid, and no one's investigating.
Looks like a mass grave at Auschwitz, right?
No one shows up.
Jesus, that went dark. It's like, there's things I'll touch, but I won't touch that. Jesus Christ, Chris.
It's usually what I do. Kind of stay quiet and then just step plumb over the line.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what year it is, right? That's the good thing about what we do is, like, no one actually gives a shit that much what we say yet, so they're not going to cancel us because they don't know who the fuck we are. You know?
Living in the shadows has its benefits.
Oh, it does, yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen this with your guys' podcast. You've been doing it forever, but isn't it amazing how hard it is to gain traction from a Western perspective?
Forever.
That's because, I mean, have you guys ever done guests that are outside of the Western world that had nothing to do with it? Or you all you
We really
stay?
haven't. We really haven't. I mean, I can't think of any that we have.
Yeah.
No.
We have.
He has, yeah.
So many.
I know you have.
It's been a huge goal, but that's because, like, you guys are intelligent, like a lot more intelligent, and I'm not, but I think I'm smarter than most of the people who have big voices. And we can sit here and have these deep, meaningful conversations as horse trainers and podcasters and Western people. And we're talking about shit that like a Joe Rogan would talk about. We're sitting here goofing off about Genghis Khan, but because our intelligence as a society, as a subculture, isn't as respected as pretty much every other. You guys agree with that, right? Like,
yeah, if you happen to be an actor in Hollywood, you have instant credibility.
Yeah,
if you have a podcast.
or even just a guy who, you know, and I actually respect the shit out of Joe Rogan. He's kind of the godfather of what we all do.
Sure.
But, you know, okay, comedian, UFC commentator, he can sit there and speak to Elon Musk or whomever, and like anything he says, people will take as religion. And so my thought was, man, there's some really smart people in the Western world, like annoyingly smart. You know, Russell sits here and just spits off everything about Genghis Khan and history, and it's like, you wouldn't think that, but if one of these guys did that, it'd be like, wow, he's so smart. You know what I mean?
Right.
But here it's like, our people, they need to do a better job of supporting that so that we can have mainstream representation from an intelligent standpoint. That's the whole reason this show even exists. And every time I bring on somebody who's a congressman or a UFC fighter or an actor, everybody like I bring Clinton on, it's like 5 million people like, oh my God, people you didn't even know exist. I just can't wait to talk about that stuff. But you bring like a famous person on and they're like,
yeah, how many listens you get on Alan West?
Yeah. And I mean, anybody who knows anything is like, holy shit, that is one of the most American, most famous politicians.
I voted for Alan West because I mean, honestly, I listened to his show and I did some more research on him. And
the amount of stuff he's done, regardless if you agree with his politics, like for our country, when he was operating during Desert Storm as a lieutenant colonel, investigating bad guys, and then he's been on Fox News more times than anybody I know. He's got millions of followers and subscribers on Facebook. He's got great books. He's been on every major media source, has consulted for the government in 3 different positions, congressman, you know, House representative guy for the state of Texas. You're just talking another level of human. And everybody was like, I don't even know who that guy is. I don't want bring back the horse trainers.
I can't even believe that.
Does it not? It's shocking, right?
It is
and I love our audience, but I'm like, come on, guys. Like,
right.
This stuff is important for everyone.
This is what you need to be listening to.
Do you know how hard it was to get him on the show?
Right.
Do you know how impossible it is to get someone of that level to come do something for Cowboys?
And even more spectacular is that he is such an oddity at his level for being smart.
Yeah.
Because most of the people that have that much exposure, their arguments hold water for 2 sentences. Mm-hmm. It's terrible how dumb they are up
Especially because I don't see a teleprompter in here, so I assume that he did not have one.
No, he was firing from the hip, but he's not the only one. I mean, we've had, like, it'll be interesting to see how this Tim Kennedy episode goes, because, again, it was as famous as Alan West is, this guy's another level. I mean, he's been on Joe Rogan Experience like 6 times. You guys know who Jocko Willings is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been on Jocko's podcast a bunch of times. I mean, he's world famous. And if the numbers come in and our people don't support it, I might just rip that TV off. I'm just gonna be like, that's it. That is it. We've worked so hard to try to like bring Cowboys to the table. That's the only thing I wanted out of this show personally, is just bring Cowboys to the table. But, you know, we sit here and we'll talk about how dumb liberal people are, and I'm not saying anybody's dumb or anything, but you know, we have the same problems.
Absolutely.
It is not partisan. I mean, it's a bipartisan issue, lack of intelligence and focus.
Yes.
On what matters.
Yeah, because you can just blindly watch Fox News too. And, I mean, like, like I say, it's not one side or the other. It's just, my trouble with the whole deal is that, like, you don't know what to believe. Like, there's nothing there to believe.
No.
Like, how do you know? Like, how do you know who to vote for? How much research can you really do to where you really know what's going on? If you're not sitting there in Washington, D.C. and seeing what these guys are doing, what they're about, I mean, what do you know? You know exactly what they want you to know, and that's it. And that's probably the thing that makes me the most hesitant, really, about even committing to anything, because you don't know what's going on.
No. And you should always be skeptical. I mean, like, you sit there and you watch too many Tucker Carlsons, you're going to have a tinfoil hat and be like, where are the aliens? Oh my God. I mean, you can't overconsume that stuff.
Yeah.
But even the people who do are at an advantage of your average person.
Yeah, then your
because
average
most
one.
people are just flipping through Facebook.
Yes.
Most of them are just like
True.
headlines. I mean, everybody has family members, right, who they just click the share button on everything they you know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they read the headline. That's all they did is read the
That's
headline.
it.
They shared it just
It was
because they
dated
thought
from
it was
10 years
their
ago?
belief. Yeah. And you're like, why is this what? Grandma, what?
It's an overstimulated society, because when you have a baby, they make this thing that has all these mirrors and flippers and all this stuff, and you can put them in it and they can play with it.
It's called a mobile, I think.
And once it can go so fast that they just almost hyperventilate, but it's all about the quick little move. Well, that's what this whole society has become on the Facebook. It's just click, 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 click. There's no reading.
No.
In depth and putting any thought into any, like you said, headlines.
It's scary. But the people at the top of our societies know that. They use it.
I'm sure.
They use it to win
all
TikTok's
day.
so
TikTok.
well received. It's like 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
And you can watch 5,000 of them.
Yes.
And so when you start, because I don't have much of that, but I got on one of them. Maybe it was YouTube. When you start, there's people doing shit on there that is physically impossible and just insane. You're like, wow. And then by the third day, you're flipping through them like nothing even happened.
Yeah.
So pretty soon, it's like nothing means anything anymore. It's just a stimulant. You're just trying to get 5-10 seconds of something. Oh, that's kind of neat, and then go on.
Desensitize the horse.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, our brains don't know the difference between that and our own physical experiences. You get that little dopamine kick and that serotonin goes up and it feels so great. But in our heads, our brains, our processor doesn't know that we're not experiencing that. So it's like being the most interesting. Everybody's the most interesting freaking person on the world in their head.
Yes.
They are. There's like, I have been to every place in the world. I have been with all the most beautiful women because all these dudes are just jerking off watching porn all the time. It's like they're all the most amazing, interesting man in the world. And, they've seen everything on TikTok and they've climbed your brain thinks you've done it all. And that's why everybody's just, life sucks. Because you've already done it all in your subconscious brain.
Right.
It's fucked up.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
And then the way they fix it is with some medication.
Mm-hmm.
And then that goes just on and on forever. Now they're prescribing it. The doctors are prescribing it. The teachers are prescribing it. Everyone's got a pill to fix whatever the hell is wrong with you.
If we're gonna pick on Mark, and tell him Mark's story about his kid wearing the mask in the school.
Oh my God! So yeah, a friend of ours. He has a little girl that's going to school, and she's coming home.
What is she, 8, 9, 10?
Yeah,
something like that?
right in there. And coming home and just like huge breaths. Can't get her air. Feels like she can't get her air. And then does it in her sleep too. So they're kind of worried about it. So they get a doctor. Well, they got to go on Skype because it's California and COVID and they won't come see you. So they get on there. The lady's listening to him and says, well, I think your kid has anxiety. So we need to put you on an anti-anxiety medication. And it's not the one that's really bad, that really gets you thinking about suicide and stuff, but it's a lighter one. And she'll be good. And he's like, hey, what do you mean?
Over one Skype meeting.
Over a Skype meeting, you want to put her on a drug that makes you think about suicide? He says, look, she's been wearing this mask at school all the time, and it irritates her face, and I think it could have something to do with it. Doctor, no, it's anxiety. You need to get this pill. He's like, well, he bows up. So a week later, they drop the mask mandate.
And she's
guess what happens? She's fine. That lady was going to stick her on a drug over Skype that is...
How many parents didn't bow up right there?
Yeah,
That's
many?
what scares me.
most of them, because most people are terrified of
Right.
that conflict.
Yeah.
A, and B, they're just blindly...
Well, they just
believing-
trust. I mean, you trust a medical professional.
You're supposed to.
Right? And those medical professionals trusted the people who taught them that.
That's the one. The one that was financed
now we're
by
talking
the
about
drug.
Ben and his plane. They're getting taught by people that don't have 1,500 hours.
And that stuff. So that stuff right there, I got a dad like everybody else, but my had a cancer thing go on.
Mm-hmm.
So they work on him, and then they put him on what's the female hormone?
Progesterone?
Yeah, but
Estrogen?
And he said made him feel like crying every day, which I don't. If you knew my dad, I mean, there's not even a tiny bit of.
He's never had any estrogen in his body before.
Right. At all.
Hoss is crying over his coffee in the morning.
He says, that's what you feel like. It's terrible. So then they say, okay, we're going to put you on an antidepressant. So then he says, I feel like crying and killing myself all day. Says, I mean, the thoughts of suicide are going through my head. Now,
crying about that?
Yeah. And he said that, I mean, that's not in him. It's just, I can't even imagine.
Well, as soon as you mess with your hormones, which is what balances everything about you, it doesn't matter if you're freaking John Rambo yourself. It ain't going to work.
So you've got, he's probably 70, late 60s when that happens. A hard-headed human being. Hardcore human being. If that can do that to him, what was it going to do to that 8-year-old little girl? To put something that it says this is for depression, may give you thoughts of suicide. What moron thought that was a good idea? Hey, we've got these depressed people, so we're going to give them something.
Let's go and see if they off themselves. We don't have to worry about it no more.
Do you think that they care? No, they make billions of dollars. I mean, there's only 2 countries in the entire freaking world where you can advertise medication on TV, and the U.S. is one of them. You're not allowed to do that anywhere else in the world. So
really?
At the end of the freaking, I'd pick the Cymbalta or something like that for depression. At the very end, they're like, may cause suicide, bleeding from the anus, loss of penis, growth of breasts,
dysfunction.
Yeah. If you are a woman, you will grow 3 mustaches. I won't tell you where they are, but trust me, they're there. You know. But still, Cymbalta will fix your problems, and it's just this little guy
Blurb.
kicking a ball down the road. Next thing you know, he's throwing a baseball with a family he doesn't even have. And they're like, by the way, it'll cost you $3,000 without insurance per week. But you know, it's not about the money.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that mindset. I can't imagine something changing that guy's mind. Period. And then he said the only reason he doesn't commit suicide is he's just so tired he just lays there and thinks
The
about it.
idea of loading this gun and lifting it up to my head is just
it's
exhausting.
like going and getting a cup of water is just overwhelming.
So he died from dehydration. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Well, he told him, look.
He got back on the whiskey and he's still good to go.
Yeah.
He's still good.
That's why he's told him, look, you people, I may die, but I'm not living like this. So take me off all this. And he's been alive for, it's over 10 years now.
Isn't it funny when people get cancer that the cancer treatment, the stays in the hospital seem to just prolong like their suffering and then speed up their death?
And it's a horrible life. They put you into, it's like, okay, you're going to die. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you in a POW camp for 3 years.
and make
until you die.
And make you eat powdered mashed potatoes and Jell-O.
And stab you.
I'm sure that'll be good.
And we're going to stick you about every 3 hours and wake you up all night and put you on stuff where you can't remember where you're at or who you're talking to, which is what bothers a lot of the old people, is losing their minds.
Yeah.
Like not being able to.
Just think, you're not going to have to worry with it.
I'm going to slide through that like nothing. I've been here, done this. I couldn't remember nothing before I got here.
You know what? There's a little beacon of hope, and it's like we're one small sliver of a subculture who's having a conversation that a lot bigger people are having. They're having these same conversations on the shows that are bigger, way bigger than ours, and way bigger than yours, and all that. But people are getting wise to it.
I think
I just don't think anybody knows how to stop it.
I don't. Well, because there's so much money in it. But
yeah, it's all about the money.
I think that there's way more people wise to it than we're being let know, because the other people have control of all the media.
Yeah.
So, which the internet is probably the biggest gift of all, because they can't control it.
No.
Before this stuff, like these podcasts and stuff, when it was print magazine, how many people were in control?
Yeah.
A very small group.
Major markets.
And
Major
they
markets
told you everything that you need to know. There was no
small towns got their news from the major markets. And
yeah, just fed down. But now with the podcast deal and the internet and even the TikTok stuff, there's stuff getting out that they're having trouble.
You still got to go look for it, though. I think that's the thing.
Well, they will create these little algorithms to make sure that they
snap you down. Algorithm.
Sure.
Hey, and so how much do you think the bots play into how famous they're making the podcast people and the what's it when you get on the Facebook people?
Well, if you look at some of the there's some of them that are so powerful you just can't control it. Like that's a Joe Rogan. But if you look at some of the top podcasts and some of these people, and you should, I like to look at that because I can just see how ridiculous they are. Like, what's it called? What's that podcast? Full Send, Ty? It's one of the biggest podcasts out there. He doesn't know, but it's called Full Send. They had Elon Musk and Andrew Tate and Donald Trump on there, and it got pulled off. But they're a bunch of fucking retards. They're so dumb. They had Donald Trump, Elon Musk, people like that on their podcast, and they're asking them the stupidest freaking questions. They're just like, "Oh yeah, though, is that real? No cap." I just had to figure out what no cap meant, and these people are my age. Apparently, it means you're not telling the truth. No, I would have never figured that out. You mean no ball cap? Where did it's just so dumb.
No cap means lying. No cap means you're not lying.
Oh, yeah. But that's the stupidest phrase I've ever heard.
How would
we
that
all have
even,
stupid phrases.
How do you get
that
there?
That was really stupid, though. I don't know.
No,
I'm not that familiar with the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not a cowboy thing, for sure, but...
You look at what...
Not the Urban Cowboy, the Urban Dictionary, Chance.
He said your favorite movie, aside from Brokeback Mountain, was Urban Cowboy.
All day
That's how you
long.
started your career, was on the Mechanical Bull.
Yes. He's got one of them shirts that you can that have
ones.
the holes in it, the mesh.
Fishnet shirt?
He's got a fishnet
Suck
shirt.
the worm. Suck the worm, rob a bank, ride a bull. It's all going to be okay.
So that's how you met your wife.
She was on a Mechanical Bull.
I tell her every day, you can't ride that bull, sissy.
Oh, jeez.
She doesn't listen, though.
No. Thank God.
But, it is interesting. So you just wonder. It's like there's so many literate, intelligent people out there, but most people want to just consume stupidity.
Icing on the cake. So just imagine if you're in control, you're in the top of media, and you can create the bots. And now you have the bots to create the numbers. So now you pick who's the most famous, and then you have the algorithms to boot. Why wouldn't you use that power? Because they're a bunch of crooked bastards anyways. So why
the scary thing is, at least what I think, is they don't think they're crooked. They think they're right.
They're saving the world.
They think that. Like this Klaus Schwab guy. It's like,
Oh
you
my
will all
God.
eat the crickets. You know, like you will eat the crickets and you will own nothing and you will be happy. You know, it's like, well, that's not a German guy said that. Shit. You know, it's like,
Is that Greta's dead? Climate change girl?
Yeah. I think she's from Holland or something. But yeah, this
Oh,
the guy
my
Klaus
Lord.
Schwab is he's the leader of that World Economic Forum.
He's scary. And
He's a
so it
scary
makes
dude.
you.
But he thinks he's saving the world.
He does.
But think about this, right? Like we're all pretty humble people, right? Your guys' biggest goals are to be the best possible horse trainers you can, and I have similar goals down that same. Like no one's thinking I want to be a trillionaire. You know, I want to be the first person to have $1 trillion, but help no one, right? Like Jeff Bezos is like, dude, you could solve every problem, but you won't.
They don't because they're born into being billionaires.
Yeah. Well,
so
Bezos wasn't. Bezos started Amazon in his freaking basement or his garage selling books.
He probably stole it.
He did something. He did something, or he got
his podcast flagged. Yeah, careful.
or he got exposed to these people who put him on this path. It's like, we're gonna save the world by making sure that nobody, eats steak anymore.
Which it's all.
I don't understand when they got so down on the cows. I mean,
Well, so here's the idea that the cows are regurgitating and creating
methane.
and so now that's smog and are you out of your damn mind? First of all, you don't even have to be a 12th grader to figure it out. Where you go and there's more cows, the air's cleaner. Where you go and there's less cows, the air's dirtier. Plus,
that's because those cow farts move. They don't stay above them. The cow farts, they move.
So
and they get off
and when we had millions of buffalo, the air was clean. So
it was
why
dirty
didn't
over the oceans in those days?
All
Because
right.
those cow farts moved off the land.
So we'll give you that one. Now, what about the millions of people that are farting?
I don't fart.
Well, so in Hollywood and all those LA, the smog's terrible. Well, there's millions of people. So are the cow farts bad and the people farts aren't? Well, maybe they are, because where you go and there's more people, the smog's worse. So maybe that's what's causing it, not the cows. I mean, there's no that whole line of.
It's the most ridiculous thing. Yeah.
Plus, there's cars. We don't even have to go to the cars yet.
Yeah. I mean,
Really?
Even the electric car argument's so silly. But I mean,
What are you gonna do with those batteries?
they just continue to melt into the Earth's crust where they came from.
There's
But what powers most of the grids in the United States? Like what creates the electricity in most places?
oil,
Coal.
Yeah.
Why is nuclear gone?
Because it's too stable.
Because
Works too well.
Just because it turned everybody into the Simpsons.
We're having rolling blackouts
In California.
Don't
say we.
No one.
Don't say we.
You're having rolling
It's a
blackouts.
different time in your life, Russell. There's no more we about California. They're breaking off soon. They're going to float off
Yeah,
into
so
the
California is such a sad thing because there's so many great parts of
They
it.
really are.
It's the
God, it's
prettiest.
Best weather, most
Yep.
agriculture ever, but there's just these two big cities that want to just fuck the whole thing up for everybody.
Yep.
They really need to. That's what we were just talking about the other day with my in-laws. Like, they need to just cut it out. It looked like an old school telephone. And like it'd just be like
Yeah,
a big
just
ball
like
down
that.
here, and then like a little handle there, and another ball there, and it could be Cali and California, and it could be two states,
Yeah.
and then we could have, there could be a red state out there.
Yeah,
The San Joaquin State.
All right, there you go.
yeah,
It would work, but
it would.
they're not going to do it that way.
No.
It's terrible because the more I've traveled, I was raised there, so I just thought that's how mountains were, that's how ag was. But the more I've traveled the world, that is such a unique place. It's just so incredible.
Oh God. Yeah. If you ever just drive down the Pacific Coast Highway,
It's unbelievable.
yeah, it's great. The weather and the breeze and even
Best ocean, prettiest mountains, greatest ag. They can grow
anything.
I don't know what they can't grow there.
Yeah, that soil's
Maybe
just unreal.
pineapples and bananas.
That might be the only thing they
That
can't.
might
They
be
grow
all
them
they.
down south, though, don't they?
I don't know. I would think they would have to have them somewhere, but citrus, nuts, flowers, vegetables, onions,
All your berries.
all
yeah.
the berries, all the legumes,
Garlic.
all the
Don't forget
all the
garlic.
potatoes. I mean, they can grow every single thing. and unbelievable cattle country.
Mm-hmm.
Like that fillery and stuff in the foothills is just, it's incredible.
Yeah.
They have it all,
the
and
best
they're going
wine.
to wreck it.
I mean, yeah.
Wine. Yep, all the grapes, all the
But that's why
fruits.
everybody went there, because it is one of the best, like literally one of the best places on planet Earth, one of the richest places. I mean, people have been flocking to California for 200 plus years. It's where most of the gold was, for God's sakes. I mean, it was just a melting pot. I mean, it was the land of freaking honey. And so it's no wonder all the rich and famous and powerful people went there.
And the mild weather.
And the mild weather.
On top of it. So it'll never stop having people want it.
No.
But my God, they're trying.
They're succeeding. I mean, it's not a free place.
They're flocking out of there.
Yeah.
I know, but someone's buying it.
Well,
That's the thing. They're leaving there, but they're getting huge amounts of money for what they're selling and buying more land for less money everywhere they go. So someone's buying it.
Yeah.
Is it you? Are you stockpiling land in California? Waiting for the
Nope.
catastrophe to hit?
I just got.
Then you're going to have a
out.
cavalry
The thing is
headquarters in California.
Is even if you win the American,
Yeah, it is.
even if you win the American, that's only a down payment on a 2-bedroom. That's only your down payment on a 2-bedroom. Yeah, so it's not going to do anything for you. Not there of all places.
Just get a loan.
That's not as cheap as it was about 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I was arguing with my banker that, hey, I want to get off all this variable because this thing's going through the roof. And he's thinking, well, they can only do so much of that. I said, well, yeah, that
They're
makes
maxing it
sense
out
to
right now.
you, but I'm telling you, they have done the wrong thing every single time so far. So the next dumbest thing to do is raise interest. And they're going to do it. And they're going to keep raising it. And they're going to tell you that's how they're fixing this. All they're doing is making the rich richer. The higher you raise interest, the wider the margin is for the wealthy, and the narrower it is for the
Yeah,
unwealthy.
when it was
So
cheap to borrow
competition
money, you can
shrinks. You can rattle their cage.
I'm a junior in the real estate market compared to Russell, but when the interest rates are low, I can rival you. Like
Get
I can
it
go
on.
make plays on the same land. When the interest rates get high, that money's too expensive, and now I'm just having to be like, well, I guess this is what I have, and this is what I'm gonna have for the foreseeable future.
And it's
Where
the
Russell,
same
he's
thing
gonna
for
be-
small business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those guys got all the money, and you're trying to get in. So when you have a 10% interest rate, that's that much gap they have over you. You can't compete with them.
No.
So they crush you. Then you throw COVID on top of it. They've already beat you down.
Well, and then the
Now your
next thing
interest-
is businesses are desperate, and then they borrow millions from the government to try to stay going.
Yep. Then they
That's
raise
never a
interest.
good
Then
idea.
that eats you. And so then big company
I mean, you've
buys
got
you and you work for 'em.
you've got companies who sell luxuries and commodities who are paying off borrowed money with more borrowed money.
It's so
we-
bad.
We looked at, they had those small business loans or whatever that were basically free money.
The forgivable ones, yeah.
Right. And
And they did forgive them.
it scared me though. And I talked to enough people that told me to beware. And so we didn't do that. And I mean, I talked to other very successful people that said, no, take it. If they're going to give you free money, take it.
The
And
free
use it for
stuff,
something.
yeah, but there was different programs going on, right?
Right.
There was employee retention credits and then payment protection plan money, which you had to use a very specific way, and they were grants. They would forgive that. But then there were the SBA loans that were deferred payments for a year, and then they came out with more. More. And, certain businesses were put into positions where they had to borrow that money, and you're personally guaranteeing those things. So there's people right now with millions of dollars of personally guaranteed money that they're using as operating capital. Lots of businesses. I mean, I just got out of one that was doing that. I was forced out of it, but I feel lucky that I'm not tied to those loans. But there's a lot of businesses who are using that as operating capital, and then those payments start rolling in, and it's between you, your lifestyle, and the people who work for you and what you're doing. I mean, you'll make those loan payments one way or another, and owing the government money is a scary thing.
Yeah. They can give it to you. They could take it right back away.
Hey, I'll tell you
Or
what.
they can take what you have in lieu of those loans.
Yes.
Got to read the fine print.
when they were able to go put a COVID check in my account and never call me, never ask me, nothing, that is scary. Because if you can put it in, you can take it out.
Well, I mean, look at what they were doing in Canada.
Yeah.
To those people who were disagreeing with the Fuhrer.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they could just freeze everything. But it's not like you can go the crypto route either, because you can't use that shit for the type of stuff regular people need. So you just kind of got to just wait it out, see what happens.
Yeah. Try to get liquid. The more liquid cash will be king again. And if you can get away from debt and have the ability to get a hold of some money, there are going to be things for sale so cheap. It's going to be terrible.
It's coming, but that's just the life cycle of the market, and it's just the way it is. And I mean, who hasn't made the mistakes of falling in deep debt, not just trying to do things, just trying to get things and be things? And it's like, God, it's a tough lesson.
Yeah,
what scared me is when COVID hit, toilet paper was worth more than darn dollar bills. I mean,
for a minute, all these idiot soccer moms who stashed it up, and they're like, "What are we going to do with all this?"
Right.
I'm gonna invest in a bidet company.
Bidets made so much money during the pandemic.
I bet they did. I bet it was out of control.
It's coming.
If you think about it, though, I mean, bidets make a lot more sense than scraping your shit off with dried bark.
Especially at the Will Rogers Coliseum. God, that stuff's terrible.
Yeah.
This is John Wayne toilet paper.
John Wayne. Rough, tough, don't take no shit off nobody.
Well, I mean, you can wipe your ass and then roll up a cigarette with it. It's the same thing. It's a wild world. We should probably talk a little bit about cow horse stuff. This is what happens on these damn shows.
Hey, this is what happens. This is where we live, though. This is the most comfortable I've been in a while.
So bidets, American Standard, which sells bidets, they saw a 400% increase in sales.
400%.
I told you another thing I missed.
I think we should have a
saw
break
it too.
Do you own one?
No.
You should probably experience one before you start investing.
No, there was one in a house that
He tried to use it as a water fountain.
I'm like, what the
That's
hell
not a fountain.
is that
It's not
thing?
a fountain, Russell.
You started rinsing the wrong
Don't judge
end.
others by yourself.
Just saying,
Are we taking a
someone's
Pee-wee?
cleaner than you can. Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. It's not a terrible idea.
On the bidet.
Downstairs.
Off the bidet subject.
That's not a bidet. That's where they wash their client's hair, Chris. For God's sakes. I warned you
Stay
about
out
the
of there.
hairstylist downstairs.
Short.
Oh,
How does he have? He needs a stool to get up to that.
what'd you say, Ty? You do need to wrap it up. Oh, we're running out of SD space? Well, let him come back and we'll do another few minutes. Oh, that's pretty good.
Wow.
These guys do podcasts for like 8 goddamn hours. Go to Cow Horse Full Contact on Apple and just look at some of their episode links. You're like, who the fuck had time to sit there with you guys?
Like, who has the time to sit down to do it, and then who has the time to edit it?
Oh, we don't edit.
That's fortunate.
Actually, we do edit, but Ben has the time. He did before he became a pilot. Now we gotta be good about our editing.
Guys, rock and roll denim has absolutely changed the game when it comes to the performance and style in Western jeans. Top competitors like Shad, Tim O'Connell, Shelly Morgan, you name it. Your boy right here, we're all wearing rock and roll denim. Inside and outside of the arena. It gives you the flexibility you need to win, as well as looking absolutely great in your interviews, appearances, whatever it is you're doing. Even when you're just doing podcasts like me. I had a chance to go to Rock and Roll Denim's factory the other day and pick out all the pants I wanted. Here's the thing. I got to try on a bunch of their new jeans. I love the men's revolver jeans with the reflex stretch technology because they're comfy. They're not stiff like some of the other jeans. Go check them out at rockandrolldenim.com or follow Rock and Roll Denim on Facebook and Instagram for the newest trends in Western fashion. rockandrolldenim.com.
Well, our unprofessional one does the same thing.
But he flies his own airplane there.
That's a good point. Yeah, he just skips the lights altogether.
That's what I was
Flies
thinking.
right over him.
Yeah, my favorite thing that this one does is when he's like thinking that the podcast is getting too long, he starts doing this.
That's what we had a break, and he was like, we're like, how long do they usually go, Ty? He's like, hour and a half. Like, how long have we been on? Hour and a half.
Yep.
Like, well, Ty, we've not yet begun to defile ourselves.
No, that's true. And I was saying, hey, look at you were out here. I was like, you need to go look at their episodes and just see. It's like they're you've seen Lonesome Dove, right? They're the podcast version of Lonesome Dove.
Well,
It's
our
a
horse shows are
series.
usually a long way away. And
Yeah.
So yeah, like I say, you need something to fill the time from Weatherford to Vegas,
Yeah.
from California to Fort Worth.
Yeah, 20-hour drives.
You guys are recording the podcast while you're driving?
No, we keep
No.
trying to. We haven't made that work.
I
yet.
did one. I was driving one time
Oh,
when we were
called in.
doing Anna.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That would be tough.
Yeah, we've been wanting to get a bus or a van at least, and like set up
I have
in the
a
back
Cadillac.
and just drive down the road and pick people up and drop them off.
That would be pretty cool.
Right? Maybe interview some hitchhikers.
Just have it set like
Not a
this
bad idea.
and just pick up a hitchhiker
Yeah.
or someone in a cafe.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it would be
I told you about
awesome.
my hitchhiker in Abilene. Well, not hitchhiker necessarily, but homeless man. It was a friend of Roy Carter's, and he told us, he'd called a couple of us and been like, hey, you guys need some help. I've got this friend that's coming down from Washington to the cutting in Abilene. Okay, great. So we're out at the cutting in Abilene, and there's kind of this strange guy wandering around the horse show for a few days, but there again, strange people at horse shows are not much of an anomaly, right? I mean, like, you might have
common.
the most wealthy, eccentric person in the world standing there in a t-shirt and baggy pants, and like, you
just
don't
don't know.
presume. Don't presume to know their economy. Well, about the fourth day of this horse show's wrapping up, and this old boy, I got done showing. He says, "Hey, I really like how your horses look." Oh, thank you, sir. And I keep walking. Well, pretty soon I go talk to this trainer buddy of mine that's kind of where I seen him, and he's like, well, I can't leave. There's this creepo hanging out, and I got these girls working for me, and I can't just leave them here with the old creepo hanging out the stalls. I'm like, fair enough. So anyhow, it's late now. It's his New Year's Eve. And so the girl that works for me, Kaylin, and I were wrapping up there at the stalls, and here comes El Creepo to our stalls. And there's nobody around, right? And he's like, hey, are you guys staying at the hotel, or you guys have a trailer here? I'm like, that's a very strange question. It's not a great way to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, I don't want to know. We are staying in a hotel. Yeah, I got it. When in doubt, go with the truth. Yeah, we're staying in a hotel. Well, could you give us a ride? I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to give this guy a ride. I mean, like I say, I got this one girl with me, and we're in the semi, and this and that. I'm like, all right, let's give him a ride or leave him here
With
with
your
my
stuff.
tack room and my horses. Yeah, we'll give you a ride. Surely we can find this hotel. Like, Kaylin, can you run navigation? Well, and I'm running through with possibilities in my head. How crazy is this person? Finally, I'm like, what's your name? Hey, my name's Andy. Andy, where are you from? I'm from Washington. Click. This is Roy Carter's friend. Homeless guy from Washington that Roy's been trying to get everybody to hire. Okay, we're okay now. I'm not panicked.
You're not
nearly as
worried
much.
about
I'm
having
not
this
worried,
guy in the back seat?
But I can't explain to the girl that works for me that, hey, this I think is okay. And so
she's still
meanwhile,
worried.
we get in the truck and she's freaking out. Anyway, I mean, no sense in making a long story short. So we get in the truck. Kaylin gets in the back so she can keep an eye on him.
Yeah,
She
that's
knows there's
the
a
trick.
She knows there's a pistol there. I've got a pocket knife. She's got a pistol. He's in the up front. I think we're okay.
Yep.
And I have a little history on this guy. I mean, just a minute bit of history.
Just enough to
Just
be-
enough. And he gets in the truck and he starts telling some crazy stories. Pretty crazy stuff. And then it gets kind of normal. Like about the time I'm like, man, we just need to find a gas station and drop this homeboy off. Then he's like, goes to talking about John Talbert's horses. And apparently he used to hang out with John Talbert, who was a big time cutting trainer back in the day. That he was pretty he was colorful. So, all right, fair enough. This guy's semi-legit. Well, then he gets to telling about how he's got this plan and he's going to be the vice president. And we're like, of America? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, geez. Where's the gas station? And then and he goes on, and then he kind of falls back into some. I'm like, okay, it's not that crazy. And I mean, I'm asking him like how he's gonna, as the vice president, how he's gonna fix homelessness, and he's telling me like, well, what would you do? And I'm like, well, I don't know, Andy. I've never been homeless. So I'm probably kind of lean on my vice president here for some of this info. And he never gives me an answer. So I'm like, okay, now I'm getting worried again. By the time we find his hotel, which is a solid hour of driving around. But Abilene's not that big a town. But we've driven around for a solid hour looking for this hotel that we finally find. As we're pulling in, he explains to us that he is the third coming of Jesus Christ.
So I'm assuming, because I do know Abilene well enough, you dropped him off the hotel across the street from Jackrabbit Slim's. Where it was, right?
So it could have been. It was across the street from one of those, maybe it was Jackrabbit Slim's. Could have been.
Yeah.
Very possibly. So, yeah, anyhow. So then, I'm like, third coming. He says, if you're thinking, who was the second coming? It was Leif Erikson. And he goes on this soliloquy about why Leif Erikson was the second coming of Jesus Christ. It was my most interesting
Part of the whole drive.
And my most interesting New Year's Eve to date. And
Leif Erikson, huh? I would have never thought.
Right. Yeah. This is the
Norwegian man.
The strangeness that happens in Abilene on New Year's Eve. So be careful when we pick up hitchhikers. This is our podcast. So this is what happens. We go.
The hitchhiker deal is always good to wake you up.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I try to avoid it. I've only done a few, but the trick is make sure you have a person with you,
right?
And they must always be in the back seat, and the hitchhiker has to be in the passenger
and
seat.
armed.
Yep. You got to be armed.
Well,
even if it's just a pencil, something that you can.
If you have to. One of those flashlights with the jagged edge.
Yeah.
Eye and twist.
That's right. Anything. Yeah, because if he's as cracked out as you think, he's going to stay twitching for a minute.
You think that cow is hard to kill?
Yes. No kidding. Imagine a man who's on 40 grams of methamphetamine. He will jack you up. Double tap. It'll never be enough.
I'm out of bullets.
Are you seen like the police videos when like someone's just full on methed out of their mind and like they just don't go down?
Don't go down.
Freaky. Those like police body cams when they just have meth heads coming at them. And most cops haven't seen that and they're just like shit, and they just empty their 9mm Glock and the guy just runs right into them.
Gotta go for the head.
Yeah, it all sounds easy, but
right.
If you've ever done like a pistol course or anything like that before. Like shooting pistols past like 5, 8, 10 yards at a moving target ain't that easy.
It's a pain.
There's a reason everybody goes for the torso because it's like you're not just gonna hit. It's not a movie.
You gotta get them slowed down.
Yeah. Hey, can you stop, sir, so I can shoot you in the face?
Slow down a minute.
Why are you coming towards me so aggressively?
Like, can we just try again? I messed. Let's redo this. I want you to die.
My dad set us up with this deal and. Justin Wright and Russell Probert with me. They come to shop horses. So we went to Defender Outdoors just over here by the fairgrounds. Mm-hmm. And it was a barbecue and bullets and barbecue or something. And they fed you dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And anyway, they run you through like their sim room. And it was pretty cool. Like you had to go clear all the rooms, but like it's dark. There's red lights flashing and there's a guy screaming behind you over the top of the rock and roll music that's playing in there. I mean, it's like being in the middle of a horror movie or something. And you have to go through and they time you on, you have to shoot a plate. Like basically there's like a plate on a silhouette.
Huh.
And you're using plastic. I mean, it's real. The pistols are real, but they're
plastic
kind of retrofitted for plastic ammunition. Simunition is what they call it. But everything else is real. And it was intense.
Huh.
It's pretty neat to do though.
Yeah.
Just keep rolling through.
Were they wax or plastic, the bullets?
I don't know. I didn't get shot.
Colt had the wax bullets for a while. He was doing the quick draw.
Oh,
and you can put them right. It's a Colt 45, and you just put a 12 gauge gun shell primer in the 45 casing, and then this wax bullet on the end, and it shoots them. And I mean, that'd sting for sure, but sure fun to practice with.
Right.
Yeah.
Without a ton of
Consequence.
consequences.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you probably should do.
No.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on the road. I mean, you look at some of these. I mean, my sister, like, good God, these barrel racers or somebody the size of Haley Kinsel, like they're just out there on their own. It's like, God, these girls.
Yeah, they need to
know
run
how
through
protect-
something.
I
Some
think
kind
so.
of-
I've always thought that.
Right. Like, oh, here's a pistol. Oh, congratulations. Well, it's a far cry from having a pistol in your console
Yeah.
to pulling it out and operating it under duress.
Well, yeah, because the movies all make it look like those guys just give up when you pull the gun. It's not so much.
No.
You gotta be able to go the full length.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've definitely been one of those guys. Like, I'll have a gun in the side door of the pickup, but I mean, I won't even be.
What about when you go to get it out when you're in the side door of the
Yeah.
pickup and you go to get it out and you can't get it? It takes you forward. You got to open the door and stand on your head to get it in the right
embarrassing.
angle. So it comes out. You're like, man, I'm glad somebody wasn't after me right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's even worse because, like, I've thought about, I'm left-handed, and there's that little cutout that the Ford pickups have that's perfect for a pistol. It kind of like can hang out, and you're like, but I'm actually left-handed. If I try to grab this, and I'm dead.
Right.
I'm not prepared to
Kill
defend
shot.
myself. Yeah.
Turn sideways for the kill shot.
Remember when the movies were showing everybody shooting sideways all the time? That is so inaccurate.
Have you tried it?
Oh,
it doesn't
yeah.
work.
It
Feels cool, though.
I know.
It does feel cool. You're just like,
They've kind of got rid of that, but they were like all shooting from the side. It is way off.
no, everything's all like really military accurate John Wick style. That's what everybody's into now.
Yeah. Yeah, it all changed, thank God.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
doesn't mess around.
No.
Kills them all.
Yeah, he doesn't mess
I
around.
like that.
No, he doesn't.
And I tell you what, as far-fetched as those movies can be, his the ammo counts are really good.
Yes.
Like if you pay attention.
The
like,
old days
'cause used
when
to
they
be
had
like, yeah,
12
you just have-
shots out of the
you
6-shooter.
Yeah, they're just shooting people. You got a revolver. You got your 6-shot revolver, and you've killed 48 zombies with it. It's not that the zombies were far-fetched, but we can't keep the pistol. We can't keep the ammunition count right. Come on, people.
That stuff's not
He's got to
that.
reload sometime.
Stuff's not that easy.
Ty's face is getting more and more sour the longer and longer we go. He's like, this is going to be a hard one to edit. This is going to take some time. Look at him. He's just like, I said
Well,
time
we
to
were-
wrap it up, and they did not listen.
We were so much shorter earlier.
Yeah,
They wasn't here yet.
that's true. Yeah, we ran through a whole simulation. We were like, that was a good podcast,
Yeah,
guys.
you missed,
Yeah,
you
shoot.
missed all the succinctness earlier, Ty.
The what?
Succinctness.
Succinct.
The act of being succinct.
In sync. I
Succinct.
think. Like the
His
boy
favorite
band.
Favorite band, NSYNC. Favorite movie, Brokeback Mountain, followed by Urban Cowboy. That's in your bio on Wikipedia, by
It
the
could
way.
be. It could be.
Yeah.
Followed by Hadley's dad.
Yeah.
That's in the end of my Wikipedia.
Oh,
bio.
at least, yeah.
We just lost you some clients, that's for damn sure. It's like this whole horse training thing just got a little harder.
That's what I've been trying to cut down. I figure I had to get those numbers down.
Maybe you need to go train horses in St. Petersburg or something like that. That's the right crowd. Well, guys, this was a fun podcast. I'm glad you guys came. Yeah,
We are too.
That sounds like
good
an
time.
official wrap up. I thought we were just getting started.
Look at him. Yeah, he is like he's over there swiping profusely. He's like, these fucking guys. It's like, what? Whose idea was this?
We haven't even asked you any questions.
No, you did not ask me
Yeah.
any questions. You get 15 minutes. There's not a lot of answers.
Well, I would like to know about, like I say, bringing in those guys that are completely out of character.
Yeah.
Right. Bringing in the Alan West, bringing in the Tim Kennedys. Like, I mean, what goes, on them first ones? Like, obviously now you've gotten a lot more comfortable with it. But, I mean, how'd that go the first couple times?
You know what? It's like, you know how we all have like maybe one gift that is, you could almost consider a gift? For some reason, that's about the only thing I got going for me is I can have a conversation with anybody and not like be displaced by their status for some reason. Like I could sit down with an Alan West and goof around and have a good time and for some reason just not be phased. You know, I can't tie shoes, but I can do that. So, you know, I don't know.
Those are Velcro.
They are. You know, it's boots or Velcro for me. Yeah, not cool Velcro.
So, what did you change from the beginning to now?
From the beginning, most episodes were like this, like just goofing around, because I just thought that would be the best thing at the time. But as the world got a little darker, and like you start seeing what's gone on the last couple of years, and I really tried to get a little more serious, and see if, like, you know what, like, it was all fun, and you know, we did the goofy things and we've done this, but let's try to get really inspirational stuff in here and see if we can give people some positivity and something to make them feel a little better, because it's out there, but I wanted it to come from our world. And I wanted people like you guys and like us to offer that, right? It just depends on the guest, but you know, if I'm sitting there with a Tim Kennedy guy, I mean, I'm not just going to goof around. I'm going to get serious and be like, inspire some people, like try to do something inspirational, because I think the times call for it, right? Like, people are at a low point, and man, like, you never know who's listening. I mean, when the numbers come in and there's that many people, you don't know a goddamn one of them. You don't know who needs that message, you know. And it sounds corny. I used to be one of those like too cool for school guys. Like, it would just, if somebody tried to do that, I would just mock them. But freaking people need something now. I mean, I know I do. I'm looking for it all the time. I'm looking for positivity and rah stuff, and like, you can get your ass out of bed and kick ass. And I think it needs to come from us too. You know?
It seems to be just in the little we've done. I'm shocked at how many people come up to me that I've never met and say how much good they got out of the podcast.
Yeah.
How it helped them get through something. And I don't know that before doing it, I would have been more like your original mindset.
Yeah. Like, what's the point? Kind of. Like,
yeah, just kind of for fun. But I didn't realize that there would be people that would really be.
Yeah, we did an episode with a friend of ours, and we had a mutual friend that had committed suicide, and we talked a little bit about that on her podcast. And following that, we got some feedback, like, from some people that were having some dark thoughts, and like said that listened to that really made them.
Yeah.
And it was like, because about that time, I mean, I was getting a little tired of doing it. I mean, we were both kind of wavering right there. And we got that. I'm like, well, shit, I guess we're stuck. I guess we're going to do this some more.
I mean,
right? If it's just one person, like, maybe we help somebody right here.
Yeah, I mean, I've wavered on it because it is just such a time constraint, and cranking them out and trying to continue to get good guests and make new content every freaking time with new people. And you're getting like close to 200 episodes. I mean, it ain't easy.
Right.
I know, and the number one thing that makes me want to do it is that, I mean, I get so many messages from people who said, thank you for this one changed my life, this one helped me, I listened to that one 5 times so I could get through this dark time. And like, that's a big deal. Everything else that we do is pretty self-serving, right? Like, you go out there and you win a buckle, or you win money, or you train a great horse. It's like, you can break that down to where it's like, that's still kind of for me, right? Like, yeah, it's for the owner. I mean, we do it for the horse, but when you put a message out for somebody,
like Clinton said, if it was for the horse, we'd do it for free.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, but nobody wants to admit the truth of that shit, right? Because it hurts our self-image. But you get the message like that, like, you might have saved somebody's freaking life. That's important. Like, and we may not recognize how important that is. And some people who might scoff at, like, you guys or us for doing this, they may not recognize that. But there's a lot of people out there who don't have anybody or anywhere to go. And what they get, like when they see a cow horse full contact pop up or a gauge pop up, and they hear a struggle somebody had, but they came out of it, that might just keep them going on another day. And that's a pretty big responsibility.
Yeah. I know. I take that into account in my showing career as much as I can, like I say, because it is a small, insignificant thing. But when you get opportunities to be a good example, right? Like, you get, because we lose a lot. Right. And so you can lose and you can act like a little bitch, or you can be like, hey, you know what? I lost, but I'm getting to play this game every day. And like, you're going to lose. So you need to be cool with it. And like, I don't know. I think for me, especially, some people will mistake that for a lack of competitiveness, which is mistaken. But like I say, you're going to lose.
Yep.
So like I say, you can either act like a little bitch and kick and throw stuff and, you know, tell people that you're upset that you lost. Like, because you see that, I think you see that in a rodeo a lot too. And there's guys that lose well and guys that don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it going to a baseball game. Like, you've struck out. No, I mean, you're going to slam your bat on the ground. Like, you should probably get used to that a little bit. I mean, but at the same time, I understand where they're coming from, because if you're not upset that you struck out, well, then, this guy doesn't want to win very bad.
Yeah.
And so that's hard. But like I say, I really try and take some of that, being an example to heart, and like, all right, well, if I'm going to lose today, what good's going to come out of it? And I mean, I've been standing around there and had parents talk to their kids like, see, he just had hell today and he just not over here crying about it.
Yeah. Well,
and anytime you can find those benefits and those silver linings, I think is a good thing.
It's about getting them, like, if you've accomplished anything or overcome odds or done hard things like you guys have, and you have the opportunity to put a message out there. I mean, we were just talking about how useless freaking school is and how most of these things are. If you've got an opportunity or a platform to put something good out, I think you should. And I think you should take the weight of that and bear it correctly. It's like this show got so big and out of control with how many people listen to it that, I mean, we get listens from countries I didn't even know existed. And it's like, I can goof around all the time and do the thing that I like to do, which is be a prick and and goof around and give people a hard time and like do that. Or I can not do that as much and try to put something out there that might get somebody out of a bad situation.
Well, and it's good how you can go both. You need to be able to touch both things.
I think so.
Because the people that don't have any fun, no one wants to listen.
Yep.
So you have to be able to do all of it. But so what got you started what was your idea when you started?
My idea was it was really simple. And like, so I got involved with 12 Gauge Ranch, which is actually my stepdad. His name's Dustin Pointer, and he started sponsoring rodeos and trying to help cowboys out with like getting them health insurance, and he's done a lot of good stuff. But I had the idea for a podcast based out of the Western world for now it's been about a 5-year thing, but about 2 years before. And I looked at what Joe Rogan was doing, and I was like, I saw the power that he had, and it always has bothered me that Western people have never, like, and I already said this, I think earlier, but like never had a mainstream foothold in anything.
Yeah.
Like there's no one thinks, cowboy hat, intellectual. No one fucking thinks that. They think redneck, your average person. We know that's not the case, but some guy down the street in Fort Worth doesn't know. They just think, a bunch of rednecks here for the redneck shit. They walk by Will Rogers and they're like, there's the rednecks. And that's always pissed me off. Because like, God, some of the smartest, best people I know are under a lid.
Yep.
And so I wanted something that was mainstream that could bring our culture to everybody else. And that's still the goal. It's not easy. Holy shit. It's twisting people's arms to be accepting on each side. But that was it. Like, let's have a mainstream podcast that has everybody on it, that has guys like you, that has Clinton Andersons and Joe Beavers and Haley Kinzel's, and then Alan West. And then Tim Kennedy's, and then actors, and then, MLB All-Stars and NFL players and Navy SEALs and whatever else. Let's have it all.
Yeah.
And that was it. And we've done it. And it's still hard. But it was just a goal to try to get. I wanted our culture to
crisscross a little more.
And Yellowstone's done a lot of that. But I've always felt like podcasts are one of the most powerful things on earth, because you control the information you're putting out. It's not monetized by somebody else. It's not controlled by a television network. Like, anybody can put out and affect change. I mean, Joe Rogan's so powerful that the government is trying to quiet him because he can affect an election. That's crazy. That's what crazy. We do.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. He got that amount of power before they knew it.
Yeah. And
if they could cancel him, they would.
It's too late. And he's not the only one. And so why not us in our cowboy hats? Why not?
It's amazing you say that about Will Rogers, because he was mainstream.
Yep.
So long ago. And no one even knows. I mean, he could trade he could debate with anyone at any level and speak our language.
Yeah.
And it's since him, I've been trying to think of who would who have gotten to that level and still be that grounded.
Yep.
Or be from our society. Even.
Exactly. And, I'm not saying that I'm that guy or anything, but if I could create the platform maybe or have a piece in that found that guy, that's all I really wanted out of it. Because I love our culture so much. I was born in it. I'll die in it. Same with you guys. And it doesn't matter if it's cow, horse, or rodeo or anything else. It's just like we're just this little fucking speck on that cow's ass that will go down with the whole ship. But, man, we'll go down fighting. And I just think we have so much value to offer the world. And I just want us to be able to do it. And there's people who could do it better. There's really famous people who could maybe do it who don't know how to use their words the right way, won't put the time in to reach out to these people to get them. And I was like, man, here's one thing I can do. I can talk. I know what needs to be said, when to say it, who to have on. Let's give it a shot. And that was just it. And I had people who believed in me, invested in it, partnered with me on this. I mean, it wasn't cheap. And if it wasn't for, Dustin and 12 Gauge Ranch believing in what I wanted them to partner with me, it wouldn't have happened this way. But I mean,
Well, you're providing a hell of a service for our whole industry. And
Well,
like
I
say,
appreciate
we're glad to have you, and we're super thankful to be on.
Yeah, well, I'm likewise for you guys, and anything we can do to help with keeping you guys going, and hell, whatever it is, you guys are kick ass, and I'm really thankful to have met you guys and got to do the show, and it's just another example of why our industry people need to see it. Guys like you, and what we're all trying to do. So.
And we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
We haven't. And the more mouthpieces, the better. The more money that comes into it, the better. And it's just, I just think the cowboy way of life is the shit. Right. And I think more people would think that too if they had access to it. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest compliments I think that we've gotten about our podcast is that people say that, hey, my girlfriend will listen while we're in the truck, or my boyfriend will listen while we're in the truck. Well, that's a pretty big deal on a Western kind of podcast.
And they're
not involved.
Writers. Right? They're not writers, and they'll listen.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah.
Because there's some of them. I mean, and there's some guys that do a good job if you want the information real bad.
Yeah.
But there's some guys that are doing similar things to what we're trying to do that, if you're not interested, you're not.
Well,
you're not going to suffer.
I mean, one thing, you could listen to every episode of The Gauge with every cow horse person or world champion, whether that be you guys or that be Zane Davis or Haley Kenzel or anybody, and you ain't ever going to hear about tack. Right. What they do. You're not gonna ask what feed they have, what their regimen is. I mean, that's not what this is for.
No.
If you want to go to sleep, go listen to something else where they talk about that. But I mean, you will have never heard me say, what's your training program?
No.
I'll say, what was your motivation? Why did you decide to do this with your life for 5 seconds, and then we'll goof off or whatever. Or we'll talk about philosophy or Genghis Khan. It's like, my goal isn't to bring on these people to ask them what their freaking method is. Who cares? It's make the horse do the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the culture.
It's the culture.
It's the culture that this nation is losing, and maybe even the world.
Yep.
They're losing that culture. The culture isn't that odd. It's what so many things were built off of. So many successful societies were built off of this culture.
Yep.
Right, wrong, and logic goes a long way.
It does.
Yeah. For crying out loud. It's not that complicated. Stop making it so complicated.
It's not. Yeah. And I mean, and we were talking about how simple, like, if you really think about it and you get out of your own head and your own ego, how simple it is. It's just make the horse do the thing. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't have to sit here and talk 3 hours about what bit, what polo wrap you freaking like. Do you like braided reins? Yeah, I mean, for God's sakes, like this, like, I don't want to fall asleep. I don't care. You know, you'll say one bit. You'll say short shank. You'll say long shank. I'll say square mouthpiece. You'll say round mouthpiece. No one fucking agrees anyway. Does it really make a difference?
Right. No one even agrees. There's no perfectly right in that anyways.
No.
We get feedback, people wanting that we wish we'd talk more training. I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
There's nothing I can think of worse than trying to talk training on an audio format.
Never.
Like, that is horrible. Absolutely
I mean,
not.
and there's shows that do it. And
I would rather get hit in the face with a golf shoe than listen to
No, like rip my eyes out through my ass. I don't care.
Right.
Like-
and with that it being said, so a lot of, especially the old guys that we do, they'll give a theory on training in a whole 4 hours. Maybe there's 5 minutes, and people will come to me and ask about that thing Ronnie Richards was talking about, or Kenny Wold, or that thing.
Rolls, yeah.
So because it was such a small part, they actually heard it. Versus an hour and a half of it, they wouldn't hear none of it. They wouldn't.
But
Who
people
would care?
People want the secret ingredient and the secret sauce, whether it's barrel racing, cutting horses, reining, roping. Like
But
everybody
they don't want to see how the sausage is made.
No. And you're an expert on seeing how the sausage is made, aren't you?
This guy.
The way that he holds his cup, it's like he is the sausage expert. I can tell.
There you have it.
You did walk through the door willingly.
I'm here, baby. It's cool.
Yeah, but it is true. Like there's been hundreds of great horse trainers, and there'll be hundreds more. And my opinion on it is, and some of the greatest people who train horses right now, when you get them in a quiet place, they're like, just make the horse do the thing. Like they just it sounds crappy. And they're like, well, the other thing is one of the things that separates greats from not greats is the discipline and the work ethic. It's like you can be amazed if you're not an expert, if you ride the fucking horse every day, how good it gets.
Sooner, you can do it wrong enough times in a row, you will figure something out.
Just riding the horse every day puts you above most people.
I tell people all the time, the belief in the program is way more important than the actual program. If you believe whatever you're doing is going to work, it's probably going to work to some degree.
Sooner or later.
And that'll be $49.95. But it is true. But that's not just that's even like getting in good shape. What's the most important? Like, what is?
Tie your shoes in the morning.
I'll get that question all the time. It's like somebody
Or
will
Velcro
see,
if you can't.
I was gonna say, don't throw that at him.
They'll see wow, that looks like a big muscle. First of all, it's not. It's the camera angle. But what's the secret? How did you get in shape? I was like, don't eat a bunch of bullshit and just be consistent. Like, but there's nothing special. I was like, pick the heavy thing up, put the heavy thing down.
Right.
That's it.
Just start there.
Ride the horse.
Yeah.
That is the best thing you can do first. Ride it.
Yeah.
So many people don't ride the fucking horse.
No,
They're
they
lazy.
just want you to write it down. Okay, if I do that, and that, winner.
Yep.
No, it doesn't work that way.
I listened to Michael Gervais. He's like, dude, start small and celebrate the hell out of the little victories, right?
Yeah.
So, put your tennis shoes by the front door.
Yeah.
And then celebrate the fact that you put your tennis shoes by the front door. Maybe you didn't put them on yet.
Yeah.
But they're not still in the closet. So that's a step closer to getting in better shape.
Yeah.
That's true.
But it's those little things. Just do it. Do the thing.
It is true. But,
Ties heavier and
he
heavier.
is so angry. He's like, I don't give a shit what you guys have to say. You don't have to spend the next 9 hours editing your little theories, motherfuckers. He's like, here's a theory for you guys. I have to fix all of this.
A lot of time and energy goes into making you guys look the best that you possibly can look.
Well, we're used to looking bad, so you don't have to do much.
I'm telling you.
But I'm different though. I'm gonna make you guys look good.
That's awesome.
Well,
How nice of him, right?
huh? That's not the first one I've had say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now here's the bad.
Last one
Here's
that
the
said
bad
that.
news.
Yeah, the last one was a barber, and I says, "Hey," she said, "How you want your hair done?" I said, "What? Just make me look good." She said, "Paper or plastic?"
I thought you were going to explain away the buzz cut, so you're not balding. Sometimes there's low-hanging fruit. I regret that one. I'm so sorry. I don't regret all the jokes at your expense, though.
That's okay.
The things that you like.
Yeah, I'm used to it. It's fine.
It's fair. Well, guys, I think for poor Ty's sake, maybe we should do this again sometime.
I can't wait.
Me either.
All right.
Yeah, we haven't even got started yet, so be easy to go again.
Yeah, we'll do another one at some point. 2.0.
I hope Ty writes some of this down so I want to say the same stuff over again.
Next
Be
time,
able to edit easier.
next time I'm putting you guys on the couch.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Okay.
It gets real comfortable on the couch. I don't know why he wants
Then
that.
we'd be here longer.
That's true. It'd be harder to get up at least.
For the sake of content, I'll do it. I'll take the longer podcast, I guess.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chance. Thanks, Ty.
Thanks, guys. All right, guys, stay tuned for part 2 of The Gauge with Cowhorse Full Contact. This has been The Gauge, hosted by me, Chance Conrado, produced and edited by our guy Ty Yeager. Shout out to the executive producers Dustin Pointer and Cody Denton. Marketing and content produced by Riley Chone. Make sure to rate and review this podcast, as well as follow The Gauge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to The Gauge wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you guys next time.